Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Vanessa Akins, and I'm a Special Program Management Coordinator in the Prince George's County Planning Department. And on behalf of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, Prince George's County Planning Department, we welcome you. This is your meeting. We want to hear your voices. So please settle in, meet your neighbors at the tables that you are in, introduce yourselves. Now I have the wonderful opportunity to introduce to you, here in this order, you will hear our speakers, the Honorable Vice Chair, Christopher Oriata, the Honorable Councilmember Walla Begay, followed by co-chair of the task force, Anthony Jones. Thank you. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Councilwoman Crystal Oriata. I have the pleasure of representing District 7 on the Prince George's County Council and also serving as the Vice Chair of the County Council. So I just want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you to everyone that came out here today because it's Saturday and you could be doing anything else, but you saw fit to be engaged in the process and make sure that your advocacy and your voice is heard. One of the things that are really important, and I want to say this because I know the chair, he's on his way, but we didn't want people to wait, so I want to make sure I do some framing of why it was really important that we had the task force. So when we first got elected to office, there was all of this conversation. As many people know, we are facing a deficit, $147 million currently, and it's projected to grow even more by 2030. And so a lot of people have been looking at what can we do. Obviously, raising taxes is something we do not want to do. We know that one of our major issues is that we're constantly have been a bedroom community and we don't have like the commercial taxation that we need. So at that time, a lot of people started having this conversation about data centers and how much money neighboring jurisdictions were making. But what was really important to us is that we didn't want to just jump into a conversation about bringing data centers, to the county if we didn't have a conversation with the community, if we didn't have a task force that brought stakeholders to the table, if we felt like we didn't do our due diligence. Because it's easy to say something's gonna bring money, so have it, right? Without looking at what are the long-term risks. Something that most people know about me, I am not supportive of data centers anywhere. That is my perspective. But I am not a single voice on the council, just like I'm not a single voice in the county. There are people that are for it and there are people that are against it. And what is so important in a democracy is that we bring all of those people to the table and everyone gets a voice. Now, something happened and we were all blindsided, and that is the land oversight. What we found out at the same time, and I want to thank the advocates because and Councilmember Begay knows this, when Shayla Adams Stafford was elected, she started looking at this data center issue in her district, and we were like, there's no data center coming to Landover. And she's like, no, I think there's something coming. We're like, no, there's not. Trust us, because it would have to come before the council. And we've heard nothing about a data center. And we all learned that before we were elected, they had passed legislation that would allow a fast-track process for data centers that would skip the county council. It would never come before us, and we know a lot of the community find out about development because there's public hearings during the council process. It would go straight to permitting. And so we would have no say and no interaction whatsoever. This was done by the former member that served in that seat, Jolene Ivey, who took money from Lerner and allowed that to move forward. As soon as we learned about it, myself, Councilmember Begay, the chair, and the county executive said, this has to stop now. Because what it did is taint exactly what we were trying to do. Exactly what we were trying to do is say, we understand people wanted to come to Prince George's County. We understand some people think this is the solution to our tax issue. But what we want is a transparent process, a process that takes time, where we look at everything before we move forward. And if this happens in the dark of night with no community input, then how can anyone trust the people that they elected? They can't. And so that's one of the reasons why we paused it. We also saw so many people come out to that last meeting because of the land oversight. And we said we have to add more community meetings so that more people can be heard. And so I just want to make sure that everyone in this room that's participating knows that I got into politics because I know most politicians lie, and they're full of shit. And good or bad, I am very honest, very transparent. This table probably knows I am not the traditional politician. I'm going to say what I think, when I think, how I think, and on an open mic. It is my toxic trait. And so I say that to say, please know that myself, the chair, Councilmember Begay, Shayla Adams Stafford, the county executive, it is a new moment in this county. And I know it's hard to trust that because we've been lied to, we've been bamboozled so much in Prince George's County, and now we're seeing this crazy, insane thing happening on the federal level. And it's like, how can you trust anyone that serves in these seats? So I'm asking you to, yes, hold us accountable, yes, show up, yes, protest, yes, make your voices heard, because I would never ask you not to do that. But then also sit at a table with us, because you do have people that care. You do finally have people that are willing to listen. You do finally have people that come from the advocacy space sitting here. So let's not waste this opportunity, and let's work together. So we did hear some issues about the format. And I asked Park and Planning, the chair of the task force or co-chair, if we could do something to make sure that we can have both models. And they have agreed. So we are going to have a session at first at your small tables that gives everyone an opportunity to talk first, think about ideas, talk about concerns, and then move on to allowing people that want to come up to the mic and maybe voice things that they heard from the conversation. So we have an opportunity to have individual, intimate dialogue and have an opportunity to be heard at the end. So I'm just hopeful that this is going to be a great conversation about challenges, about concerns, and then remember this though, you have to figure out, if it was to come, make sure you also have the conversation about what that would look like. I always tell advocates, no matter what you stand for, because I might be one against it, but I still am very strongly say, but if it came, this is what it would need to be. Why? Because you never know what's going to happen at the end, and what you don't want is, you don't want your feedback not in there, you don't want your that's why I will amend bills I don't vote for. Because if it passes, I want to make it better. And so what I implore everyone here is, yes, staunchly be against it if that's where you are, but also make sure every single recommendation you want to make it better, to make sure it's not in your neighborhood, to maybe say invest in infrastructure, what do we invest in clean water, all of those things are included. So again, thank you all for coming. I think I will pass it now to Councilmember Begay for a few words. But again, I just want to say thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. And if you ever need anything from me, please reach out to my office. I am an advocate for you. I want to make sure that we move things forward in a way that centers the community. So thank you all. And now Councilmember Begay.
Thank you to Vice Chair for really laying it out. I heard a lot of concerns here, and I just want to reiterate, we do not want anyone's voice to not be heard. Let me repeat that. We do not want anyone here to not be heard. Understand that the things of the past, I just want to make sure she spoke a lot, but I want to focus in on two things. Before any of us were on the council, this is 2020 and 2021, the council members unanimously voted, some of the ones that we serve with, to fast track data centers. Let me just be clear. This was before any of us were on the council. What happened in Landover was not something that any of us were aware of, because the process that was voted in 2021, which I will be repealing, we will be repealing at the council. Just want to make it clear. We are repealing both of those bills at the council. But I had to wait till after the task force. When we found out when you found out about Landover. But see, we were ahead of this issue before this even started. And I want to make sure people understand. Come here, Chair Barrows, I want you to come up, because I want people to understand the leadership that we have that made sure that we had this task force. If it were not for the idea of putting the task force together, none of this would exist. And people would just be frustrated. When we first came on the task force, people were discussing data centers. There was a vote in November of last year, and I'm going to send the link so everybody will see it. That vote was to skip a process that a data center would have to skip, a subdivision process, which we didn't realize that would be skipping 2 processes instead of 1. But I then said on the dais, and I'm going to send you all, I said, I understand that we have a money issue in the county. We do. We really do. We want to lower taxes for people, but right now we simply cannot. So what we wanted to do is actually bring on revenues, but I said we need to make sure that this is worth the squeeze. So let's not skip any process right now. I asked my colleagues, don't vote for this bill right now. Wait. Let's have a discussion more on it, and we voted that. We paused that right there. We paused that right there and put it on hold in November of 2024. It was then I started looking into putting bills forward. I started meeting with PJM, PEPCO, all of those things. I started doing that with my office alone. And I told the chair, and the chair said, Walla, we need a task force. Let's not do this. It shouldn't be just you. It's got to be the entire council with all stakeholders at the table. He said, pause everything. Let's put the task force together. We did this now. In January and February, we discussed this. So by then, he put the bill in I believe February, and we had passed the task force by May. So I just want to tell you all what we were doing before so you understand, because I know there's a lot of frustration. And I'm going to be honest, if I were you, I'll be upset too, because I would feel that people were making decisions without me being at the table. And unfortunately, I understand your concerns. I really do. So we put the task force together, the first meeting of the task force, because for the council, it is the chair and I that are on the task force. When we got on the task force, on June, there was a presentation by Park and Planning, and it would shock you to know that just about every commercial zoning permitted a data center. So meaning it could be in your shopping center, it could be everywhere. We were said, okay, we cannot move forward with any more data centers. We're going to have to put a pause. So we already discussed that in June, in that June meeting, before we even received any word about Landover. As we went on break, we were preparing to put the pause in when we heard about the concerns that people have and that there was Landover. And we were surprised because when people came to me, I honestly had to call people and apologize, because when the rumor came out, I said, there's no way there's going to be approved data center in Landover. It didn't come to the council. It's got to come to the council. But that was when we found out that it doesn't come to the council. So we were outraged by that in itself, but unfortunately we had our data center, by the time we knew people were coming to the data center meeting, I believe we found out maybe a couple days before, and we found out that people thought we were voting on Landover, which we were not. The data center task force has nothing to do with Landover, but then we knew we needed to make sure we got the pause done. So we did the pause to make sure, not only to stop it in all areas, but to make sure that you knew that your voices are heard. So no data center is moving forward at this time because of the pause. And that just wasn't on the council level. The county executive put one in too. So we've got protections everywhere at this point. We have to finish this task force, but what we want to make sure is that we hear your voice. We did do meetings in July. Now, when I got the reports back, we had 50 in the northern part of the county, 50 that showed up in the central part and 70 in the southern part. To me, I said those are pretty small numbers. I'm not sure what happened. But now, when we saw this, we were only scheduled for community meetings in July. But the chair actually said, let's have another one. And we met with, and Anthony Jones to come up, he actually said, we need to have another one. We sat with the people together and we said, we're gonna pay, because we have consultants that are on this, because we need to make sure that every voice is heard. So when they even said that maybe 300-400 people, we said, we wanna make sure everywhere, we don't want one person to come out of here not being heard. So I understand the concerns of of how we have it here today, but the reason why we do have it this way is because if we did it just town hall style, we would only get about 40-50 people in the time frame to speak. But if we have 400 people, we would not know the thoughts of the other 400 people. So we have this at the table with facilitators. Just understand, this is not silencing you. This is making sure that every voice is heard. People are going to take that paper that you have. You're not going to walk away with it. That's going to be taken back by our team. Everything will be put together. Every task force member will have the opportunity to see the concerns or what the actual concerns of everyone. However, I do want to thank the people that said we need a town hall style. We did speak with the chair of the task force. He listened. He said, okay, what we can do is have a town hall style after we do the breakouts. We will have a town hall style so we can hear from the masses. So we will do that, as the vice chair said. But I just wanted people to understand. I understand you're frustrated, but we are not the ones here to frustrate you. Please know that. We are here so that your voice can be heard. And I understand that many didn't get the notice in July, so we made another one so that you could be heard then. And this is not going to be the last time. Even when the task force is done, we're going to be having, when we release the report, I know I had always planned on doing something so people can understand what we've learned. I've learned a lot. There was a lot of assumptions that I had before that when I came in, I learned. Like, for instance, when we talk about electricity, just note for electricity, if a data center went in Prince George's County, it could impact our electricity. That's a fact. They're saying that we might have blackouts in 2027, but I will be having an actual event on that, and with PJM speaking, and all of you all will get the notice, because we're going to be talking about the state of our power, and everybody will be, because I want you all to hear straight from PJM. But what I also learned is that if 20 other data centers go up in in Prince William County, which is going to happen in the next 10 years, our bills still go up. If they have a data center in Frederick County, they have 10 data centers coming up in Frederick County, our bills still go up. So the reality is that this is a crisis no matter what. To me, based on what I've learned, that is the biggest issue that we have here is electricity. But again, I want to hear from you all, the zoning, all of those things, we want to hear from you. So I thank you so much. I know I've spoken a lot, but I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I did not come to political office so that I can just ignore the people. People in this room can attest to that. I've been there, a transparent person, and I want to hear your voice. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
I think my two council colleagues said it all, so I'll be very brief. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I do want to thank each and every member of the Park and Planning staff, because my understanding is that you're volunteering today, so I appreciate you. Look forward to hearing your thoughts. And like I said, my two colleagues said it all, so I don't have much to say. County Attorney.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Jones. I'm the co-chair of the task force, and I'm also the Prince George's County Attorney. Thank you all for being here today. You being here is democracy in action. We care about what you have to say. And the format of this meeting is so you'll be asked questions about specific topics, and you have a chance to write down your comments. So this format is important so that we can receive written comments, so all members of the task force have an opportunity to review your written comments. So please, while you're at the tables, write your thoughts down, because they will be included as part of the record of the task force recommendations. So with that, I'll turn it back over to our Vanessa Akins.
Thank you to our chair, our co-chairs, our council members for those warm greetings and informative information that you brought to residents here in the county. I want you to look around. We had over 475 people who registered for this meeting to let you know how important this topic is. Now I would like to bring before you our Deputy Director, James Hunt, who will talk about how we're going to proceed. Deputy Director Hunt.
All right, thank you, Vanessa. Again, for everyone, I'm James Hunt. I'm the Deputy Planning Director here with the Prince George's Planning Department. Just like the council member said, thank you all for coming out here today. It does mean a lot. Greatly appreciate that. In addition to that, to give you a little bit more feedback on kind of next steps with the process itself, just like the council member said, it's so important for you all to document every aspect as far as your thoughts on data centers today. We want to really do that because what we're going to do is we're going to take a picture and also incorporate that into the study and the report, because we want to ensure that we capture that information into the study that goes back to both the task force and our county council. And just like they said, this information is provided to them, and that allows them to make informed decisions on data centers in Prince George's County. What does that mean to you? All these different things. They'll be able to do that with your feedback in the process, and a transparent process is that. So that said, after the study is wrapped up, we're going to definitely go ahead and publish this out so everyone can get a copy of this as well. That's very much important, a part of this process. And then, like I said, the council members will be able to make a further decision where it relates to legislation, how we proceed in Prince George's County on data centers. That said, I want to take a moment to go and introduce Evan Tides, who's with our Gensler team here today, and he's going to facilitate or start the facilitation of the presentation. And then after that, we'll go into the topics related that you have on your tables here today. Evan?
Thank you, James. Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for your patience coming in. There's a lot of folks here. The intent of today is really, like everyone else here has said today, to hear your input, receive your feedback, and help craft a policy to guide data center development here in the county. So if we can move the presentation forward, I know it took a while for folks to filter in, so we're going to move through pretty quickly here. So if we can advance maybe 2 or 3 slides. So the run of show here, we're going to have 3 different discussion groups, and each of you will see a colored table tent at your table. The intent will be that a facilitator at your table will host your discussion. Once time is up for that topic area, you may choose to move to the next colored table, and there will be 3 separate rounds. Of course, we understand if you have feedback that doesn't necessarily fall within one of these 3 topic areas, we encourage you to please add as many notes, as many takeaways as you would like. We have a lot of different formats. If you do have any questions or concerns or feel that you're not being captured, please let your facilitators know. Please let myself or one of the folks up on the stage know, and we'll be sure to make sure everything is captured, because all of this feedback is going into a community engagement report, which is really helping to filter and determine what type of content, what type of recommendations the council will ultimately take forward to inform data center policy. Next, please. We've gone through our welcome, so we'll continue, please. So we talked a little bit about the background of the task force. If we go to the next slide, we can talk about the next 2 task force meetings, which are coming up. So we have a in-person task force meeting at 1616 McCormick Drive. That's Largo headquarters. There will be an in-person meeting on October 29th and an additional meeting on November the 12th. These will be held at 11 a.m. And if you scan the QR code here, it will take you to the data center website. There are several meetings which have already been held. Those are a really great resource for lots of diverse perspectives presenting on the operations, the sort of data center market considerations, concerns, energy providers, other policymakers who have gone through this in their own communities. And the intent is that the data center report, which will be informed by the feedback such as been received today, will be presented at the November meeting. Next, please. So again, my name is Evan. I am going to be sort of running show today. If you see me floating about and you have any concerns, please let me know. We will be really around to gather your input. As we said today, this is truly to understand what the concerns are around the potential impacts of data center development in the county. And as others have mentioned, if data centers are to continue being a viable policy type here, what does that development want to look like, and what benefits, what's the squeeze? What is the squeeze? What are we asking of developers to provide back to the community to make it worth the deal? Next slide, please. So again, today is really about exploring the benefits, potential impacts around data center development, understanding your concerns, and this is not to propose any new development. It's not to identify any new sites. This has nothing to do with any particular data center project which has been proposed before. This is truly a broad overview, understanding the data center development type, which we'll go into in a little bit more detail now with an overview. Next slide, please. So data centers have been around for a while, but have really grown in their market in recent years. And so we want to take just 5 quick minutes to make sure everyone's kind of speaking the same vocabulary around what data centers are. Next slide, please. So data centers are buildings that house infrastructure that supports the world's computing functions. They are the processing and storage centers that support what we know as the cloud. And their primary function is to process and access data, but they also store, safeguard, and keep information in secure environments that protect from hackers. Increasingly, data centers power our everyday digital activities and impact all of us, from residents to businesses, education, healthcare, government, and financial institutions. Next, please. We've seen a huge growth in the number of data centers. Obviously, that's why we're here today. And especially in the last 18 months, there's been a lot of development, as you've seen in Northern Virginia, Frederick County, and other areas adjacent. There's been a lot of activity, so that's why we're here today. Next slide, please. So we all know why this is important, and that's why we're here today. Next slide, please. We are going to really quickly cover some of the quick topics of interest here. Each of these will be explained on the following slides. Next, please. So the first topic of interest is around economic development and tax revenue. So we're going to be talking in some of the community benefits sections, as well as some of the community concerns. Really, what are the economic development opportunities? What are the actual sort of potential for job creation, and what are the potential tax revenues that could be gleaned from this kind of work? Next slide, please. The next is looking at, local digital connectivity and digital infrastructure. So understanding how it's critical to have these facilities to facilitate all the things that we do on the web from day to day, to support healthcare operations, to support financial institutions, national defense, security, etc. Next slide, please. And finally, community and civic benefits and potential for sustainability. So we also, in the community benefits section, in the community concerns section, as well as the building and site design sections, talking about ways to mitigate potential environmental impacts, and what are other ways that data centers can provide give back to the communities in which they're located. Next slide, please. So we are going to transition now into our discussion groups. If you want to forward ahead in the slide deck here. Continue on. We'll go through all of these. Continue. We'll pause on the facilitation 3 colored circles. Okay, perfect. So from this, we will be transitioning into our discussion groups. Again, I will be giving a notice of when folks are going to be moving to the next discussion topic. We'll give you a little bit of a warning. Again, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to a great discussion today.
Okay, facilitators, be prepared to man your tables. We want to go ahead and get started with our discussion. So let's begin. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we have everyone lined up. Do we have a timer, please, so we can give everybody no more than a minute or two, because we want to make sure we hear from as many people as possible since people are really worked up. We understand.
Everybody gets 1 minute.
1 minute. Do we have a timer? Can we have a timer come up? Huh? A time person right here. Can we get someone on the team, please, to come up and give us time?
I will do the time.
Okay. Anthony's gonna do the time.
But we should have someone. Okay. All right. So we would like you to introduce yourselves. Okay. We'll do 1 minute because we have a lot of people.
Okay, 1 minute.
So I'm sorry to limit you all, but we want to make sure we get through as many people as possible so people will be heard. So you will have 1 minute. Give your name and your community, and you have 1 minute. And he's going to pull up the time when it's over for each person. James, could you please help us up here? All right. Okay. Let's start with the first one, please. Let's give the first one the opportunity to speak. Okay.
And can we have some of our facilitators that are volunteering? We want to capture all of the notes because we were doing that in the small groups. But if we're moving to this model, we don't want any of the comments not recorded. So can we have some of our facilitators that we know will be capturing this so we don't lose anyone's feedback? Okay? And then, where's Anthony? Okay, so he'll have 1 minute. Once the 1 minute is up, he has a red card. So he'll hold up the red card and you'll know it's time to move on. And we're doing the 1 minute so that everyone can speak because there's a lot of people here. So it's not about us, it's about making sure your other advocates and other people get their voice heard, okay? So we're waiting to get the mic set up, our facilitators ready to go, and then we're gonna move to this town hall model. So give us 1 second to get everything situated, okay? So you guys good? Our facilitators good? Y'all are capturing this? All right, so we're gonna go, we have 2 mics, so we're gonna go 1 line, then this line. Okay, so alternate lines, okay? Starting with this line first. Introduce yourself and then you can give your comment.
All right. Thank you for having me. My name is William Lord, and I am from Intelligence Working Together. We are a nonprofit, and we are a collection of Black and underrepresented businesses that work together to improve opportunities. So really what I have is a concern, and I also have a couple of requirements from our organization. So what we're looking at here, it seems like what they're telling us is that the data center is actually going to happen. And really it seems like this is just formality. Like we're just here just because that's what it seems like. Okay, I'm telling you what it seems like, right? So with that, what about the jobs? Okay, what kind of benefits is it going to bring to the community? How many? Right, how many, wait, I only have a minute, y'all. Please let me get my question out. It's about y'all.
Pause this time.
So,
pause this time. I want,
right, no.
We're going to let you finish.
What percentage of those jobs are going to be dedicated for the community?
Sir, I want to make sure you finish. Well, I'm going to ask the audience. We're going to have people from both sides speaking. So it is very important that everyone is respectful of everyone. That's all we're asking, because we don't want people bullying you when you're talking. So just let each resident have an opportunity to say their piece, okay? Be respectful of him and be respectful of the next person that speaks. Let him finish his thought because I cut him off.
She just said let him speak. She just said, get your hands off.
Let him finish his thought because I apologize. I cut him off to make sure we kept order.
She said let him finish. Please, sir, back up.
Exactly.
And then moving forward, our facilitators, will you hold the mics, please? Thank you. Okay, sir, I apologize. In that additional 30 seconds, I cut him off. Thank you.
Right. So, like I was saying, right, we want to know how many of those jobs are going to be dedicated to the community at a percentage, all right? Because there's a person here, he's from a company that builds data centers, all right? He's gathering the information that we're putting in, that we're saying here on the tables so that it benefits him. His company is going to get paid to build a data center. So it doesn't sound like they're even asking whether or not we can build a data center. It really sounds like, yeah, it's going to happen. Now we just need to make sure that you're dedicating those jobs to black and underrepresented businesses. We need to make sure that there's a long-term solution.
Okay,
we need to make sure that
1 minute.
environmental concerns are taken care of. That's what we're here for.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. No, get handed to a facilitator. No, Anthony, the facilitator will hold the mic. We need a facilitator from Park and Planning. One facilitator from Park and Planning, please. A facilitator from Park and Planning, please. A facilitator from Park and Planning, please. I need one more facilitator from Park and Planning. Okay, I'll come down and hold the mic. Can you facilitate this?
All right, next person. Let's go back and forth. We just had this person speak, so let's turn on this side. Young lady, your 1 minute starts.
Nobody interrupts. Okay, very good. Hello, my name is Christian Hollowell. I am a resident of PG County. I lived in PG County for many years of my life. Some of the concerns I have is the increased energy cost that has cost me over the summer here at PG County. My light bill alone went from high 200s to about 600. I live in a 2-bedroom townhouse. This is insane. They're using these resources even if we do not have the data centers in our own community. The surrounding states are increasing the cost of our energy. So if we're going to add on that and pile on that and bring it to our community, that is a real concern for me. Also, when we talk about the environmental impacts of these data centers, where are we going to dump this waste? Where is it going to go? We already have folks dumping into our landfills, our county areas already. It's an increase, and this is only going to keep increasing and infringing on black and brown communities. So, I mean, for me, that's and also, don't let them sell you on these jobs, because a lot of times, the skilled workforce are not here. And they're also not incentivizing for our children to one day work in these data centers. The education levels that we already have in here, they can't work here, so who are we employing?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Next person, please. Next person is right there. Thank you.
I got it. I'm a grown man. I can hold the mic. I'm good. You good, boo? Can I hold the mic?
Just go ahead and ask your question.
My name is H. Rory, and this is environmental racism on all levels. Not only are they draining millions of gallons of water a day. When the water runs out, we need water. There's nothing we can do without that. They don't have the infrastructure for the electricity, so not only are our bills going up, we are going to be running short on that. Like they said earlier, the jobs, they're going to probably hire illegal immigrants and deport them with ICE, not pay them, and then after that, they're only going to outsource to special IT people that our black family members and friends are not going to get these jobs. After that, if this is about $147 million, we can create solar power and sell the green solar power. If this is about $147 million, we can create homes, we can create community centers that will generate revenue, rent, create spaces for people to live. If this is about $147 million, there's so many other ways that we can do this besides polluting the black community. And I'll stop talking. I'm good now.
Thank you. Next speaker on this side. And just be respectful of the facilitators, please. Let's be respectful of the facilitators. Thank you.
My name is Andre Campbell. I'm from Landover, Maryland. I've lived here for 39 years. It'll be 40 next year. I'm going to piggyback on what my man just said. This is environmental racism. In no circumstance would they put this in Bethesda. In no circumstance would they put this in Rockville. There's a elderly center right across the street from it. There are community schools surrounding us right now. It takes about a 20-ounce bottle of water to create one AI image. That's one picture. So that don't say how many pictures. Say 20 pictures. That don't say a 5-second video. So imagine how much water it's going to take of our clean water, how much energy it's going to take to keep this thing up and running. Under no such, just like they put that state in the middle of our communities, I'm from Landover. I tell you, every week we dealing with traffic. If I had to get home to my daughters, I would have to break the law on Bright Sea Road to get there because of the stadium. Again, they would never have put that in Bethesda. They would have never put that in Rockville. It's environmental racism. It's constructional racism.
Thank you.
And they only put it in our black and brown neighborhoods.
Thank you. Time. We'll move over to this side.
Okay, so I just want to propose something to the council and to the task force. We need to focus on heritage tourism. Westmore just granted $4.6 million to Maryland nonprofits, and $2.4 billion in annual economic benefit comes from heritage tourism. So I think that's a good idea of something that we need to focus on instead of poisoning and polluting our communities. And then I also think that a lot of voiced at the recent budget forum about mountain biking, cricket field, fitness bubbles. Those are things that can be in the community. Hello? Okay. Those are things that can be created in the community instead of a debt. So that's it.
Thank you, Taylor. Next on this side.
Hello, my name is Deron Whitten. I am a member of Local 602, and I am for data centers. Okay? A lot of you all are sitting there talking about pollution and power. Most of y'all do not know how the power grid works. Okay? Most of y'all don't know that there are clean energy first. If you're going to interrupt me, then I'm just staying up here longer. You interrupt me, I'm going to stay up here longer.
Respectful.
Now, as I was saying, the power grid works in levels, okay? All right, now, far as, let me address the pollution, because a lot of y'all think that the generators are polluting. Generators don't. These generators, the new stuff that they're using is not polluting. I don't know if any of y'all have ever heard of blue fuel. Blue fuel is an additive that they add to diesel that makes it burn cleaner. Generators, the data centers do not run 24 hours a day. Okay? I've worked.
All right, time. Time. Thank you. Time. Thank you. Time.
I've been working at data centers for over 15 years, building them, and it's not what you all think. I urge all of you to ride out Virginia, where
time. It's okay.
Ride out to a data center and see if it's what you say it is.
Okay, before we go to the next speaker, before we go to the next speaker, we want to hear everyone's concern. When we first started, we said we'd move over to this model so that everyone could speak, but please be mindful and let each other speak. If it gets to a point where we can't hear anyone, and it gets too rowdy, they're gonna say, let's just stop. And I don't want it to get to that model. So just respect each other. There might be people on opposite sides of the issue, but just let them speak, okay? Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, hello. My name is Jamoke. I live in District Heights. So we talk about the $147 million that we're currently facing as a deficit. However, cannabis, when it went recreational, generated $1.1 billion in 2024 with $100 million in tax revenue. So my question is, what happened to that money? We have Pepco and Exelon donated the most to Governor Westmore's campaign, and Governor Westmore was fundamental in streamlining that bill for data centers. Lastly, I would like to say, we talk about jobs when it comes to data centers. PGCPS has an employee shortage. How are we addressing our community crisis when it comes to schools right now? I'm currently have a child that is in PG public schools, and how is a data center going to pour back money into the community? How is that a guarantee? And if we talk about tax revenue, how is it that in 12 months they can employ somebody and get a tax exemption? So where's that money again coming into the community?
Time. Moving to this side. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Alan Olorunshola. I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm not for the data center. I'm not against it. I'm just trying to lay the basis. We came here for community engagement, to be enlightened, but it seems people come with misinformation. On the table that I was, people raised the question of noise pollution, energy concerns and all that, but are there mitigation strategies that we can use to curtail some of this concern? I believe we should come here to learn, to hear one another, not shout down on one another. And talking about data center, I used to work as a field tech for one of these telecoms, and I do work in a data center. I know what happens there. I know what they're talking about, noise and all that, and pollution. There are some data centers that you walk into, you don't even hear any noise. And I was mentioning on my table that some of us should go for a site visit.
Thank you. Time.
Thank you.
That's okay. No.
Hi everyone, my name is Ellen Trimel. I live in Hyattsville, Maryland. The first thing I want to echo is that the environmental racism of this being put into Landover is incredibly obvious, and I think this is something that white people need to keep saying out loud too, all right? My white friends, we need to keep calling this out too. The thing that I think stood out to me the most at my table was the idea of how can we leverage things to make this tolerable? And I didn't move to Prince George's County in 2014 to tolerate where I lived, right? We're here because we love this area, because some of us grew up here, and we want this community to something we can use and we can participate in. I think there's a lot of good ideas out there about how we can redevelop the Landover Mall site and others that will generate revenue while we actively participate and use that space. And that's where I think our focus should really be moving forward. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. I believe it's good afternoon now. People have said pretty much what I could say. This is gonna harm our community in every way possible, environmentally, economically, and you guys have dropped the ball on protecting us from that. I spent the first, 30 minutes in here listening to two grown women give us all excuses as to how they dropped the ball. I work with kids. I've heard children have better accountability than either of you two did. But this is what we're supposed to deal with? It's unacceptable. Y'all are responsible for ensuring that we are taken care of, and you're not doing it. It's unacceptable. Do your job. You don't get to drop the ball.
Yeah. All right, my name's Shorty. I've been right here in Hyattsville for my whole life. Look, this right here is all political theater. They're not going to answer our questions, but the cameras, the accounts is going to really say what it need to be said. So, excuse the imagery, but it's necessary to feel how disgusting this is as a whole. Y'all got the data center reps up here saying y'all are ultimately trying to lube the center up to rake the land. Y'all don't care how we feel. The elders I've spoken to have passed on the wisdom that we should be disillusioned by this dog and pony political theater, and to not feel the impact of as disrespectful as y'all are being. But a lot of this movement, as y'all mentioned, was railroaded and uninformed. I will literally understand better if y'all was just able to be more transparent and say that y'all are railroading residents with the placements based on an AI bubble that's based on intangible factors that has nothing to do with us. Coming up with real solutions and strategies of what these spaces are built for. This has not been held accounted for, and y'all up here worrying about time and us, but y'all have taken 3 hours of time giving us a pitch. You giving us a slideshow, and everybody better get on this mic, because if you try to take the mic, we're gonna be in the lot. We're gonna be in the parking lot, outside every building. What is wrong with you?
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Andrea McLaughlin, and I live in Bowie. So I'm not for this data center at all. I have two issues. One is that this seems to have been done covertly. It seems as though this has been fast-tracked and that this is a done deal. So if that's the case, my next concern is, what was the deal? Because my energy bill has gone up substantially over this summer. And my understanding from other data centers is that a lot of these data centers will make deals with the power companies so that instead of the data center paying for this, the cost of the data center is distributed amongst the residents. Was that the same deal that was created for this situation? Are we paying for this data center? That's my concern. In addition, my other concern is the increase in the use of water and electricity. Thank you.
My name is Nico Assad Blanks. I've lived here my entire life. Upper Marlboro, Maryland. This is home to me. This is not a game. For everyone here, it's not a fucking game. This is our livelihood at stake. Economic benefits aside, which are very short term, it ain't worth it. Your water is not worth it. Your air is not worth it. Do not give these people that. Keep fighting and Westmore.
Agreed. Ms. Brand Worcester, I live in Upper Marlboro. I'm also an organizer of Media Justice, and we're an organization that is supporting folks fighting data centers all across the United States. We had folks, including folks from here down in Memphis earlier this month, that are all trying to fight data centers in their communities. And there's a lot more. You can check us out. But what I want to say is how disappointing today has been. We thought finally you all were going to hear from the community. We had to demand it. We had to take the mic from your hands for you to hear from us. And then you stand up there and you say, well, people passed stuff before we got here. I wonder who the can pass new laws. Who could pass that would make it different? Who could do that? And so all I want to say is what everybody has said is correct. We see this pattern. Black faces in high places will not save us. Unfortunately, we see it again here. And so all I want to leave you with is we have all the facts. It's not the nonsense you've heard. Is get off your knees for the developers and stand up for your people.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Akira Kramer. I'm also a resident of Upper Marlboro. I learned about this data center about 3 or 4 months ago in land oversight, and what I really want to bring to people's minds is that I think that anything that comes into our community and asks to use so much of our resources should actively be reinvesting into the communities in the same way that they take from us. How are we reinvesting in the lives of our youth? How are we reinvesting in the healthy lifestyle and care of our residents with regard to workout facilities or water purification or places where we have to travel miles and miles just to get fresh food from a market or find organic food from a market? Why are we not reinvesting in the lives and the systematic care of our residents and just asking to extract resources every single time that we go somewhere? We're asking to pay more things. We're building another mall so we can spend more money. We're building another McDonald's or another gas station where we're spending more money, but they're not actively reinvesting in the care of our residents. I want to see more reinvestment in the care of our residents. Thank you.
But thank you.
Hello, my name is Ulysses McLaughlin. I live 1 block from where they're talking about putting this stupid data center. Carry the thing back to their neighborhoods and let them see what it's like for them. And up and up. I have solar panels on my house and my bill has gone up. Please for this stupid data center. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Janet Gingold and I live in Kettering. I want to thank you both for being here to listen to the people today. I know that this learning about data centers is a complicated process. Everything we learn, it looks worse. Please, make sure there are no non-disclosure agreements. Make sure it's transparent how much energy and water these things are going to use. Make sure our people have clean, renewable, resilient power to run their homes and not sacrifice that for data centers that take income and opportunity out of our communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Serene. I live in PG County, I work in PG County, and my kids go to school in PG County. As a matter of fact, my children's school is across the street from the Landover site. So when we talk about health pollution, when we talk about air pollution, water pollution, all these things, they are affecting our babies, okay? And I'm not saying that to say put it somewhere else because I don't want it to affect someone else's baby somewhere else, okay? Now we know what these data centers are all about. We're all watching the news and we're seeing where this country is going and how it's all being used to enrich a few billionaires, Google, Apple, whatever the case may be, at our expense. And I don't want to sit here and pretend that the fight is over because I'm counting on you too. And you're telling us that you are not aware and this was done outside of you. So who's doing it? Who is in charge and who do we need to talk to let them know that we do not want these data centers? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Noah Waters, former mayor of the town of Eagle Harbor. I wanted to thank you for allowing us to be here. I have empathy for you. I've been in your shoes, and I think we need to look at another plan. Data centers secretly proposed for the town of Eagle Harbor will ruin in Eagle Harbor, one of the quietest places in the state of Maryland. So help us help you. Heritage tourism. Help us talk about alternatives. Help us help you. Let us help you. Alternative. Give us an alternative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Iona Coleman. I'm representing my family who owns property in the town of Eagle Harbor. I live in Aquasco, Maryland. We do not want that in PG County, and we want corporate America and billionaires to pay their fair share in taxes.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Miriam, and I've grown up all over PG County. I currently actually live in Clinton. So I've been really disappointed about this event. So when we walked in, we immediately just saw flyers that showed the benefits of the data center, but none of the cons. And so it gives and reads as if a data center is what you all want us to have. Has a risk-benefit analysis been conducted, and will the results be shared with the community? I think it's really important that we know what you guys have discovered and that you give us the results so that we can have better trust in you. Right now, we have no trust in you. We have no trust in your leadership and what you're able to do for us as a community. Additionally, you keep talking about the $147 million deficit that PG County has, but you have not shared if there are other economic considerations that you have considered outside of a data center for us to use in order to lower the deficit. So that is your job as our elected officials, and we expect for you to do it.
Time. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ophelia. I live in Landover, Maryland. I live about a few blocks away from the data center. Okay, good, thank you. I am 100% against AI. It is not going to be useful for any of us in this county. And instead, I'm going to propose something that we should do with the land. With the land, not only at the Sears Center, but with the Commanders area that's leaving in the next year. We should work on getting more opportunities for those who are in PG County to work and to live, especially for those who don't have the opportunity to go to college. My proposal is to use that area to promote solar panel power and nuclear power and give people in PG County the training they need for those jobs so they can live and promote their own communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Alex Lugo. I was born and raised in PG County. I'm also a software engineer, so I can tell you all mathematically why we don't need this data center. But I'm going to talk about the economics. People are saying we need this data center to raise money. You know, Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, has said that AI is already a bubble, that someone will lose a phenomenal amount of money. And if we build this data center, that's going to be us who loses the phenomenal amount of money. Now, Loudoun County, right over the road, has over 300 data centers. And I've been to Leesburg. I walked down King Street. They can't even fill in their own potholes. Where is all that money going from 300 data centers? Building one here isn't going to save us. It's just going to pollute everything. We could be building farms over there. It's on 87 acres of land. We could have mixed-use housing. There's so much more we could do with this area. We don't need a data center.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Claire Flintoff. I'm a lifelong resident of Cheverly, Maryland. I went to PG County schools from kindergarten to 12th grade. This is my home. And you are absolutely right that this is environmental racism. There is no question. This whole process seems designed to pacify residents. They brought us here today, had us talk in little groups so that we would feel better, but not to solve any problems. There was no facilitator who was able to provide concrete data or real, actual solutions to our questions about environmental damage. And this is true. This is all in service of AI and the AI data center that's going all over the country here. And we know better. We've seen this happen in other places. People pay for it, they pay for the infrastructure, and when this collapses, we will be left holding the bag. The jobs this builds are temporary. There will be temporary construction work. These data centers, when they run, are almost entirely automated. There will not be people employed
Thank you.
there.
That's time. Thank you.
Mike, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Kathy Bartolomeo from Greenbelt. I grew up in Greenbelt, live in Greenbelt, went to school here. I'm on the Climate Justice Wing. Governor Moore had a data group that was supposed to be studying data over a year ago. They only met one time. And he vetoed the study bill legislation last year. The PG County Forest has no environmental organizations on that task force. Have Sugarloaf Alliance, Frederick County Mobilize Frederick, or the Climate Justice Wing. We've studied this data centers for over a year. No one has reached out to us. I wish that Harrison, Hawkins, Watson, Ivy, and the other council members were here. You two are brave to listen to all these comments and take in this information. I'm hoping that the council meetings can be held at night when people can come and make comments.
100%. Thank you. Next comment.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Donna Oriowo. I'm a sex and relationship therapist here in PG County. I've been working here, living here, being here since like 4th grade. So for me, it seems mostly that you brought us here to make us complicit in having a data center. You had no intentions of really doing the real work and asking a simple yes or no question first. You're asking us, how can we bring a data center here in a way that you're okay with? That is dishonest, and quite frankly, it is an insult to our intelligence. Some of us actually did get those critical thinking skills in school. So if you're trying to do this honestly, I suggest that you get some people from PG County to be in the room to help facilitate these conversations, and not a firm that is located in San Francisco.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Rachel Agrat Pryor. I did send an email once I received that we were going to have this discussion. Ultimately, this is environmental racism. We're constantly forced to be consumers. Who's going to profit from these data centers? Another Amazon, another Google. When you look at who they hire, they don't hire us. And now because of Trump, you know, there's less people in the room that look like us when it comes to software engineers. You know, so AI, there's a lot of garbage data. Why are we going to have this data center to support a lot of garbage data? Now, we do use technology, but maybe we have to reevaluate what we're doing. You know, we need to earn money. We need to be producers and not consumers. It's just another form of slavery.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Tuesday, I'm in Kettering, and I actually did research before coming here, surprisingly. Data centers can steal 5 million gallons of water from us per day, and we're gonna front that bill. Data centers also use double all of our county's electricity per day, and we're the ones paying for it. It's going to take our land away from us, and it's going to take the profits who God knows where. Now, I think it's really important that we have all of us here today to speak out. I just hope that we're actually having our voices taken care of and not just thrown away on a sticky note.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emma Newfer, and I grew up in Bethesda and I live in Rockville now, and I just want to support what my neighbors from Prince George's County say, is that we've got this empty White Flint Mall site. We've had it for my almost entire life. This isn't happening. There is very obviously discrimination, environmental racism. Prince George's County has historically been affected unjustly, disproportionately, the impacts of economic growth and development for the rest of Maryland, and I just want to support and reaffirm what everyone has been saying, in that, like, this is very clearly differential treatment, very obviously.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nia Christian, and I'm a resident of Prince George's County. I agree with everyone here about the data centers, that they should not be built because of the environmental implications. But a recommendation that I like to make to the county executives that are here is to reintroduce a ban that was introduced by Rashawn Baker to not allow developers to be able to contribute to county executives. They shouldn't be incentivized by developers to line their pockets at the expense of residents.
Hi, my name is Steve Johnson, I live in Cheverly, been there 33 years. I'm for the data center, and for these particular reasons, people say they're short-term jobs. They are not short-term jobs. Once you learn how to be a plumber, once you learn the skills of construction, you learn how to be a plumber, that sticks with you the rest of your life. You can go on to the next project and build. Unless we have something to teach these children how to develop these long-term skills, we'll be stuck. Also with the community college, let the data center team with the community college and Bowie State University. They got a fine computer system program over at Bowie State University that could put people to work in data centers. And I actually work in data centers, in and out of them all day long. It's not the staff in the data center that builds the community, it's the folks that come in and out of there. People who own warehouses, do deliveries, logistics, plumbers, and folks, and electricians. So don't stop being victims. Let's look forward on this.
Thank you. Time. All right, next.
Hello everyone, my name is Rodiat,
Next
and I've been a
speaker.
PG County resident for over 15 years, and one of my biggest concerns is about the health of myself and other community members. It's no secret that there have been significant federal budget cuts to citizens' health benefits. So when the data centers worsen residents' health, because they will, today's discussion has made it clear that the county cannot afford to cover residents' health care costs. So I say no to data centers.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kiana Biggs. I am in my second year to be a physical therapist, so I'm getting my doctorate, so I'll be Dr. Kiana Biggs next year.
And I'm coming to talk about the impacts of healthcare that they're going to have on already our failing system, because they are not taking care of black and brown people when it comes. We're the most misdiagnosed when it comes to diagnosis in the hospital. We get treated the worst when it comes to hospitals. Black women are at the highest mortality rate when they have births. And let's talk about also 50 or more chemicals and metals are already exposed to pregnant women before they even have the baby. So think about that when you add more pollution into from these data centers. So you're talking about the children. What children? They don't have no air. They won't have no clean water. They won't have a good environment. So what are we bringing them? There is no future for them. We're just here. And I'm already young, and I'm still trying to push this. So what happens to people under them? They're not going to have anything. So that's all I want to say. And there's no Medicaid and Medicare, so, that's another thing.
Thank you. Time. Greetings, everyone. My name is Toya. I'm with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. There's only so many times that we can address the county council and task force. There's only so many times that we can write, we don't want water pollution, air pollution, on Post-it notes before the people make the change. And so I'm addressing the public when I say, behold the power of the people to enforce change. So when we put these officials in their positions and the things that we're asking for, please don't ever forget that we hold the power. We hold the power. The people are the only ones who ever get anything done. So when they're threatening us with AI data centers that'll surveil us, when they're threatening us with pollution that can kill us, we have to take matters into our own hands, and that's what we did today. Nobody knew anything about this until the people organized, came together, multiple organizations band together and said, we're not letting this happen, not under our noses. So the people, we have to come together now and in the future to get this taken care of. Thank you so much. Thank you. Time.
We have to be out by 12:45 because they have another.
Hey, my name is Sierra Curry. I'm District 6. I've lived here my entire life. I was a child when Landover Mall was still a mall. Something I want to keep in mind for everyone is here, everyone's anger and frustration is valid. There are a lot of council members and a lot of task force members that are not here. And so despite the fact that you guys are taking some L's, they are here to hear us and hear our rage. The other thing I want to say is, yes, there's a lack of transparency with this whole thing, but why is it that we don't know who is trying to build this data center? Who is taking up that space? The Lerner family owns the land, but who is making this data center? I know Channel 7 interviewed Aisha Braveboy a little while ago, and she said that she has a possible person who is already interested in building at this space, and we don't know who that is. We don't know if that's Meta, we don't know if that's a generative AI company, we have no idea who that is or how the space is going to be used. And two, why has the Lerner family been able to hold on to that space and do nothing with it for 20 years? They have been waiting for years to do something that benefits them. They don't care about this county. We've had malls across the street and down Woodmore Town Center that is trying to keep this place alive, but that place has been dead for 20 years. So that to me is ridiculous. I don't understand why they haven't had any type of repercussion for that land. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to make an announcement. There is another event in this space, so they're going to keep us mindful of when we have to cut off, but our goal is hopefully we can get through every speaker, but thank you.
My name is Alexis. I am a resident of Montgomery County, but I'm here to support my neighbors in Prince George's County. As many of you have already said, this is environmental racism. Maryland has the longest ER wait times in the country, so if you increase severe COPD, asthma, all of those things in this community, that's only going to contribute to those wait times, which means the entire community is going to lose out on care. This is just not an option. And, there's talk of revenue in the community. What revenue? It's going to be built by some tech company that doesn't pay their fair share of taxes, and it's certainly not going to be revenue that comes back into the local community. So it doesn't make any sense to build a data center here.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Michael, resident of PG County. I think the people here already know you've been lied to. And so I want to dispel some myths, specifically the actual basic premise of, do we even need data centers? Some things you should know. There are over 5,000 data centers in the United States of America. The next largest country with data centers is Germany, with only 500. Loudoun County, just Loudoun County, has more data centers than all of China. Tell me why we need these data centers. And it's not, I'll tell you why they need these data centers. They talk about tax revenue. Well, where's that money coming from? We know it's an AI bubble. Where it's coming from is their promise of cutting jobs. You know, right? Working class jobs. And let's look at these basic ass slides, these presentations, these consulting companies, these corporate class think their job is useful. That's what AI could be doing. They're not going to be telling you cut our jobs. They'll be cutting the jobs of working class people. And that is it. At the end of the day, it's all a facade. This AI stuff is a bubble. It's not real. And even if it were, they're basically saying the way we're going to make profit is cutting jobs. You're screwed one way or the other. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Patrina. I have been a lifelong resident of PG County. I'm from Beltsville. And I'm really disappointed in this country and all of these lawmakers for allowing this to, take our jobs, take our water, pollute our air when we're already struggling. The planet already has a limited supply of fresh water, and that cannot go to some data centers that are going to take our jobs. We've got to put our living creatures first, and we need to save our children. They are the next generation. They're gonna inherit this messed up planet that nobody's really giving care to anymore. We need to focus on funding after-school programs and rec centers. We need to focus on funding food banks, national parks, and focus on supporting the taxpayers and residents of this country. Save our future.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sade Anderson Brown. I'm a homeowner in PG County. I went to high school in PG County. My son goes to high school in PG County currently. I'm a business owner in PG County. 100% no to this data center in Landover, in any part of Maryland, anywhere on the East Coast. This is not just about Landover, although absolutely we're saying no to Landover. It shouldn't be in anyone else's backyard. No one deserves pollution. No one deserves increasing their electric grid, and their electric bills, their water bills. I'm a 3-year cancer survivor. I have been exposed to extreme environmental toxins in PG County, and as Stacy, who's not here, who's an environmental justice activist, has said, PG County is the toilet of the state. Stop treating PG County like the toilet of the state. We deserve more. We deserve more.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to ask, why now? Why we know only a month? I mean, they're already in the process. And they don't really ask us. I mean, they pretend like they care. And these data centers, but it feels like it's violated by the basic rights. And those utility companies and providers already outsource our sensitive information to the third country overseas. And and now the bill is going to increase. And that's not fair to treat the residents.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Brianna Gibson. I grew up in Maple Ridge Apartments, directly across from what used to be Landover Mall, and that the Lerner family now has speculated on because they hate black people and don't want us to have anything good for over 20 years. I'm against data centers. I'm against data centers anywhere, and especially where I call home, where my nieces and nephews call home, from very small to older, where my elders call home, where I've spent my life growing and loving and learning. I want to echo the disappointment of other people in coming here and being faced with a lot of questions that were leading questions around how we can make this good and how we can mitigate. The mitigation strategy is to not have a data center. That's the only thing that will solve those issues. And despite it feeling, people having the sentiment that, oh, it's going to happen anyway, I'm deeply committed to it never happening. Ain't no data center. And so I want to express to people that we are more creative than to rely on
the ideas of other people of a data center to bring in revenue for our county. We are
you.
more creative than the solutions or false solutions that are presented to us, and we can do better because we are better.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ben Fergus, and I've lived in PG County since 1985. And can you hear me? Yes. My questions are about electricity usage and water usage. Haven't seen a whole lot of that in the presentations. There was some in the previous one in September, but my question is, how much electricity, what will be the additional electricity use?
Submit to laws that protect our data and what they do with it until we get to share in some of the monetization, and that they submit to laws that keep them from getting hacked and having our data wind up everywhere in the world. I also want to ask, why can't these meetings be virtual? Why can't we get public comment? We want to be involved more on the decisions that get made, and it's really difficult if meetings are held when people are at work. I have 2 people that I support, 2 dependent adults, and I cannot come to meetings in the middle of the day. But I might be able to take an hour off and tune into a virtual meeting or listen to a recording.
Thank you.
Real quick. Companies like this rely on us to eventually tap out and our anger to dissipate. So our irritation, our anger, our frustration needs to continue to rise, and we need to continue to educate ourselves, to educate those around us, especially a lot of the young folks, because we're going to be the ones that inherit all of this. You know what I'm saying? So we need to let the folks know that they ain't here. We need to continue to be angry. We need to continue to be frustrated. We need to continue to rely on each other, because your problem is going to be my problem, and then vice versa. So we have to stick together in this, and we truly do hold the power. The county, if we had to stand in front of the construction, we have to be willing to lose something. We have to be willing to lose something to go forward. You cannot be afraid. You have to be willing to lose something to really get something, especially in times like this. You cannot be afraid. The time to be afraid, the time to be meek, the time to sit back and sit in your hands is a done deal. Especially to the younger people. I'm 39, 30, for whoever my age or younger. We have to inherit this and carry this thing forward, because we're going back in time. We're going backwards in time right now. We got to keep moving forward with our anger, with our frustration, and together. We have to do that.
Thank you, thank you. We want to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to speak before we wrap up. Okay. I know. We want to just talk about the next steps. Okay, so we just want to talk about the next steps and the next opportunities. As many people know, there is another task force meeting. What's the date? October 29th. And then I want to talk about at least the next steps on our end. For many people know that have been involved in the land oversight, that we passed the moratorium and pause on the council side, and that the county executive signed that executive order for the moratorium. One of the things that I can only speak for myself, have pledged to do, and I've been public about this multiple times, I'm against a data center anywhere in Prince George's County. So the next step will be after the task force, because everyone agreed on the council for the task force to run its course before introducing additional legislation. I know my colleague is working on legislation around an appealing what the council member did before we were elected. I know people would like us to do things when we're not even in office, but that's just not the reality. But what I can say is, I made sure I came here today, even though I'm not on the task force, and wanted to sit and hear you, because I think it's important that community has a space to be heard, and that you know that there are people that care, people that are going to sit here, people that are going to listen to you. But I want to echo what someone said about elections and politics and November 26th. Why I want to say that is because Sadly, the two of us were here and the chair who had to leave. But the majority of the people that need to hear you aren't in this room. They're never going to come to this room. They're never going to sit through 2 hours and get yelled. They're just not going to do it. I'm just going to be honest with you. But this is where you have the power. I'm not telling you who to support. But what I'm going to say is, the reality is, people elected the same person that did the Landover project to be in office at large, who will outserve myself and Councilman Begay. So we have to pay attention collectively to what these people are doing, because they are going to lie, they're going to host a chicken dinner, they're never going to show up, they're going to hide their hand, and the only faces you are probably going to see are the people that agree with you. So I'm asking you, do your due diligence, organize, yes, complain, but then make sure people that don't align with you never serve again, because if you don't, we're going to be back here doing the same thing all over again. And some people I know worked with me when I got this seat. I unseated an incumbent. They said it could never be done. An incumbent had never lost. But people organizing, we can do it. We can get out elected officials that don't really give a fuck about us. But the reality is, and I just want to make sure this is heard, I will take all the criticism. I will sit here. I was supposed to leave early, but I said I will not. I don't want to leave until this is over, because I don't want anyone here to feel disrespected and think that we don't care. We really do care. But the sad reality is, when it comes to a voting body, I'm 1 vote. She's 1 vote. There's 11 of us. It takes 6 votes to do anything. 6. That is a majority. That's why I tell people we are the most powerful at the ballot box, because the ballot box sends people to represent you, and you only got 1 shot at it every 4 years. I personally think the community made a mistake when they sent Jolene Ivey back. That's the reality. I'll say it any day, any time. But she's going to be on the ballot again. And if we send her back to outserve everyone that's on this side, shame on us. Shame on us. Because it doesn't matter if we come out here and fight when we're not going to have the votes. We got to have the votes. So I'm just asking you, make sure, I understand you're angry, I understand you're frustrated, I understand you're upset. Please put that energy in the place that we make the most change. But mind you, I'm not being political. I don't need nobody to say I was telling people who to vote for. I'm not telling you to vote for. I'm just telling you what I think. So I appreciate everyone being here. I will stay later to communicate if you want, but I want to make sure I give Councilman Begay an opportunity to close out as well. So thank you all, though.
Thank you so much. I want to start by apologizing. I didn't come in giving excuses. I just want to clarify. I know I heard your frustration. I know people need a place to put their frustration. I didn't come for excuses. I came to tell you what happened before we got here. I am going to repeal. We're introducing the bill that will repeal the fast tracking of data centers. That will be done. And that will be done in January. We're already doing it. I committed to that. I thought I said that before, but I needed to repeat it. I just wanted you to be clear that there were actions taken, because everyone says, well, how did this happen? How did we get to a point that Landover site got to permitting to this part? There were actions taken, and that needs to be explained. But let me just explain one thing. Nothing is a done deal. Landover is not a done deal. We paused it through the legislation and resolution. I led with my colleagues to pause it. The county executive has paused it, and there will be other actions taken. At this time, we're waiting to the task force to announce those. But I will say, nothing is a done deal. Not even whether we have another data center in the county is a done deal. That's why, I just want to be clear, that's why we're having this. If somebody wants to say we don't want it in the county, we need ammunition. We need people to say, well, here is what we did with the study, but we can't do that if we don't have the voices. That's why I was disappointed with the July meetings, but you all came through for this meeting, so thank you. I do apologize. If there was a park and planning worked something out with someone that did the facilitation. If you felt that facilitation was sending the wrong message, we needed to hear that. We did not know that. that, and we will talk to Park and Planning to actually see what happened with the facilitation, that it was leading you to believe that it was feeding you information to say you're in support of data centers. If you felt that way, that was not the goal. The goal was to get the actual input from everybody here. But I will say, let me just be clear, some of you I spoke with say you want to vote people out, but you can't tell me who your council representatives are. So we need to work on that, get more engagement, because frankly, sometimes we could be really reactionary. We see you all here, but then we have low turnout in our election. So we just want to see you guys everywhere. If you're going to have advocates that are going to be with you against data centers, understand that there are other people that really want it. So and they're going to pay the money. So I ask you to reach out to all your council representatives. Know your council representative, reach out to them. We have heard from council members. I know when I was making sure that no data center is coming to District 6. So I made sure of that. But when I talked to another council member, he said there were agreements for his district, that the residents were in agreement of a data center. We're hearing opposite things today. So make sure you all reach out to your representatives. In addition, when she talks about the mistake of Councilmember Ivy, where she was working with the fast tracking the data centers, it was our understanding when we spoke with her that she said there was an agreement among everyone to fast track data centers to get it at that site. So if that's not the case, then if you all could reach out to her and clarify that, because that's what we got.